So today we're actually looking at Stewie2K with the on and off IGL statistics that we now have in case. So we're only going to be looking at IEM Katowice. We'll be diving in some rounds after this as well, but I just want to show these on paper first. So this is just Katowice, bear in mind, so 2 maps on Nuke, 6 maps off of Nuke, and the round totals are relatively similar in terms of per map basis. But across the board, I thought it was quite interesting that his stats didn't really change that much when he is IGL versus when he's not. Like, we had a lot of people, like, on the eye test, he's been allowed to do so much more as a player. Like, he's been allowed to play, like, his old style, he's been able to play, like, more aggressive, not having to think of what everybody else is doing, like, not coordinating a strat, and the stats don't really show the same thought process. So, like, the main differences, of course, are the impact rating. So you can see 0.77 on Nuke, which is, like, the impact rating is based off of the opening kills, clutch ability, and multi-kill rate. So if you look at them then, so opening duels, there is a hell of a jump up there, 14.04% to 25%, 14.04% to 16%, and then clutches, he won more off Nuke, of course. You could argue the off Nuke, for this at least, is just based on the fact that they played more games, you get more chance to clutch. But I just thought it was interesting to see how his ADR was actually slightly higher, but then the kills drops, let's say that's about 8%. And it's, you know, I just thought, like, okay, maybe there's more to this. So I actually dived into some of the game footage. So the first game we're actually going to look at is from IEM Katowice. This is the third map between Navi and Liquid. So with him having slightly different stats as IGL versus not, I figured I might as well have a look at some of the rounds to see what could be, like, different. Because obviously there is a difference in his opening kill participation, for example. But then there is also a difference in, like, slightly in his ADR and his kills per round. And obviously impact rating is based off of, purely off of opening kills really, as well as, like, your clutch ability and things like that. But we're just looking at round 4 here, because this kind of demonstrates the differences in what he is allowed to do, right, as a T-side player when he's not calling. So let's consider a look at the map, shall we? So you can see on the right hand side, you can see Fallen's got a flashbang out, he's ready to flash for Stewie. So you can see already, this is directly showing that Fallen is playing a supportive role in this T side. And Stewie's being allowed to be used as more of an entry fighter, more of what we saw from him when he first actually got onto the pro scene, really. He was known as that smoke criminal, right? And it's a bit more of an aggressive style play. So we'll carry on letting this one play through, just to give a bit more time on this round. So the other thing as well is, like, Inferno might not be the best map to show it, but he is being used more as a, like, obviously we know he's going to be helping with calling towards Fallen. Fallen was saying that in a lot of interviews as well, saying it's nice to have a second voice in there as well. But he's actually being used as a bit of a lurker too, which kind of works nicely, really, because if your second caller is the lurker, they can relay the information, well, usually they're able to relay the information a bit better than your other players, because typically IGLs are quite good at communicating during rounds and stuff, as well as that they can read the game pretty well. And this round is just a case of him being the IGL as well as, well, not being that, being a lurker whilst not IGL, and actually just playing to get the rotate kills, which he doesn't get in this situation, but we'll have a look at another round next as well. Yeah, so this is the second round we're going to look at, round 10. A bit of a weak buy, all things considered. But this is again going to be showing more how he can be used in different ways. So as IGL, I noticed, I'll go over some of the Nuke games as well. He is much more of an overseer, I think is, like, the best word for it, or like a warden, really, making sure everybody is doing their tasks, right? As a non-IGL though, we get to see him more in his element, first man in on a strategy, and really no fear whatsoever. Like, look at this. Like, he just charges, no holding back or anything. He knows the plan. I have to go in, I have to get the kills. And it's actually kind of great to see, because this is what we didn't see much of during, it feels like during the MIBR time, as well as when he was joining Liquid as well. It was a bit of a question mark, like, what's happening with the IGL side of things. But allowing him to be a bit more free with his role, actually, is refreshing. I'm kind of glad we're seeing more of it. So we're going to look at round 19. Obviously this match is a bit more of a one-sided affair, But you can already see hints of him being more of a supporty kind of player on Nuke compared to what we saw in Inferno. A lot more flashes being thrown for his teammates, as well as not being the first man in, instead allowing his teammates to excel. Which is classic signs of an IGL really. They try and put players in positions where they can succeed. So we do see elements though of what we saw in Inferno, because he still gets some territory, as well as that he also holds. And this is probably more of a case of, I'll hold this position, and then I'll have to make sure everybody else does what they need to do and relays the information to me, then we can make a call based on that. And he actually holds in Garage for an awful long time. So that they get the opening kill, and this is at 1:05, and we have a look at the map now, and we can see, so the outside presence at least, and Twists was taken down, Broki's already in lower, so now Stewie has pretty much all of this area, although he doesn't know it. Elige has Secret, Fallen pulls back towards the lobby, and then you've got 2 players in the lobby already. So he's actually going to sit outside for an awfully long time, so like you'll see here. Look how much time passes before he starts making a step, and unfortunately for him, he does go straight into the crosshairs of Fragger. But we still see this element of IGL lurk from Stewie on Nuke, which I'm finding it quite interesting. It basically means that he's able to do, or focus more on his actual solo play, as it were, on Inferno and other maps, and instead on Nuke he has to think about everybody else a bit more. This is the last one I'll show. This is more pointing towards, again, the overseer statement I had, where he is basically watching from the top, making sure everybody is covered, and then being able to make a call based on the information his teammates are relaying to him. So as he's not even going for an opening kill, he's actually just covering the back for Leash there, and Fallen's already outside. And now this is just a case of, okay, we've got this control, and then we'll move on to the next step of this round. And that's kind of what I'm mostly trying to talk about really, because like, we've only had the 8 games played at Katowice, which is technically since they actually stated Fallen is IGL. So I'm wondering how much do we see Stewie get freed up in terms of, like, how much space is he allowed to take on the map and other maps? As well as then, does he stay IGL Nuke? Does he not? I'm not sure, because obviously Fallen doesn't play the map very often, or has not played the map. I think it was like 35 career matches on the map. Like, it's kind of, like, those are numbers you don't really want your IGL having on the map at all. But it's going to be an interesting experiment. I think the team has been showing a great sign so far through the honeymoon period. But hopefully we see them carry on with it into more, not structured, but further on along the line.